Hello, everybody. My name is Stanley J. Targos III. I'm the host of the Response Able Solution. Today, we're going to talk about tools and timing. And tools and timing is a very important part of financial planning. It's also part of life planning. But let's set the stage by talking about tools while we're building a house, because I think most people can relate to that. And I want to make sure that we're drawing the correct correlation between what I'm discussing and how it has an impact on our future. People say that there's bad tools. You're using the wrong tool. That's a bad tool. Well, I believe the reality is this. There really aren't bad tools. There's just tools that get used the wrong way. And the perception is that's a bad tool. If the only tool that I have is a hammer and I need to build a house, how do I use the hammer to reach a high point like a ladder could be used? How do I use a hammer to be a roof jack on the roof? How do I use a hammer to mud drywall? Then if the hammer was the only tool that I had, I would think that hammer is a useless tool. It's just being used the wrong way. But oftentimes people do that financially. They buy a tool, they use a tool, they buy something at the wrong time at the right place, and then they blame the tool. Well, life insurance, annuities, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, 401k, credit cards, bank savings, CDs, money markets, that was a horrible tool. Well, the reality is it probably is not a bad tool. It might just have been used the wrong way. And I've fallen into that trap many times. In fact, I was thinking about my history 30 years ago. The first job I had after college, they said, get the 401k and put money in. And I did. Well, the reality for me is I knew that I was not going to be an employee long. I knew I was an entrepreneur. I knew I wanted to start a business, but I also didn't want to upset the people around me by not respecting them and taking their suggestions. So because I respected the people around me and I wanted to be successful and have a foundation, because no one shared with me the different uses for the different tools, I got a 401k. Well, a year and a half later, when I left that job and started my own company, I cashed in my 401k to invest in my company. Well, that cost me a lot of money. That cost me a 10% penalty. That cost me taxes, which the taxes isn't the big issue, but I didn't have access to my money along the way. And when I needed it for something else, I had to pay a penalty to get access to it. So is the 401k a bad tool? No, 401ks are fantastic when used at the right time, at the right place, in the right season, for the right purpose. But for me, it was not the right tool. It cost me money to have access to my money to use to invest in my business. I would have been better off setting money aside in the bank or a savings account, not even earning a rate of return, but not having to pay to access my cash. So 401k is not a bad tool. It was just used at the wrong time for me. In fact, I've had many examples in the past of using excellent tools for some people, but are not the right tool for me. Right after I started my business partner and I decided we wanted to buy some homes. So we ended up buying a home. And then a few months later or a year later, we bought a second home. Is buying rental properties a great tool? Absolutely, it's a great tool. Was it a great tool for me? No, I would have been better off buying a business building that had a garage that could store equipment instead of trying to make a house be a house and an office and a storage facility. I ended up losing both of those houses, walking away. It cost me more money. I spent more money on mortgages that would have been better served in a savings and emergency fund or a Roth IRA than anything else. So a rental property is a bad idea? No, but they weren't the right idea for me because it wasn't the right time. So I was always trying to apply tools that didn't make sense for me but were working for others and expecting them to work for me. It just didn't work that way. The truth is, God has a plan for me in my life, and if I'm not open to what He's recommending and where He's guiding me, then I'm going to constantly be tripping over my own feet, creating chaos and issues that I don't need to deal with. I'm buying problems I don't need. And then I'm frustrated, I'm irritated, and I have discontent. And what I really want is content with what God's doing, regardless of the tools that I use. So the reason we're talking about tools and timing is because I meet a lot of families who are struggling with debt. And debt is a tool. How many people do you know can move out of their parents' house by paying cash for their own house? Very few people. How many families do you know have more than one child that need to send that child to college that have to take a parent loan and a student loan to achieve that goal? How many people after college have enough cash to pay cash for a car? Even a used car today, a decent one, is between 15 and 25,000 maybe. So debt is a tool, but it doesn't have to be a lifestyle. It needs to be a tool. And what I'm learning at my age, I've been in the financial business and around money and understanding how money works for almost 25 years. And I've been doing things 50, 60, 70, 80% correct for the last 10, 15, 20 years. And every couple of years, someone brings me a new aha that elevates my game and helps me change my thought process. And that happened recently. And what I realized is if debt's a tool, and I'm willing to pay Visa, MasterCard, Sallie Mae, the mortgage company, the auto loan company money, why am I not willing to pay myself? Why am I not willing to make that same mental attitude towards my savings, my emergency fund, my future? Well, the truth is because most of my money goes out the door to pay for things that I can't afford to buy today, so I have to finance. How do I get out of that cycle? Well, there's tools that we can use that help us. And sometimes it's a tool that our parents or the internet or people around us don't understand. They only understand 401k, Roth IRA, traditional IRA. They only understand money market. Well, that's great for certain seasons of life. They only understand a traditional debt snowball. Well, the reason why most people don't work a traditional debt snowball effectively is because life happens. And when life happens, they don't have the patience or the educational tool or the strategy to solve the problem. So, what we're doing at the Response Able solution is giving everyone the ability to respond when life happens without just using one tool called Debt Forever. So we want to be forever debt free. In order to do that, we need to have our money working for us. We need to have access to it. We need to have liquidity use and control. We need to have a good rate of return. It needs to be tax deferred and tax free when we utilize it. And really, we need it working for us constantly. And ideally, we need it working for us even when we put it somewhere else. It's like borrowing on a 0% credit card to put money in a savings account that's earning 4 or 5%. That would be cool if we could do that all day, every day, guaranteed. The problem is that doesn't work for most people. And when your 0% rate expires and the money was being used, now you're getting charged 12, 15, 19, 23, 29% interest and you're going backwards. So we don't want to gamble. We don't want to use the wrong tool. We want to use the right tool for the right place that we're at today. And then we want to introduce additional tools along the way. What most people want to do is they want to start by building a house and they want to buy the sexy things that people see first, the shutters, the roof. They want to buy the chimney. They want to buy the appliances. But if they haven't built a basement, put a foundation, framed it, or drywalled it, what good are all those other things? Those other things just sit around and end up getting destroyed because of time, because of weather, and because they're not being used day one. What if we started by building a foundation? What if we started by digging the basement? What if we started by filling that with an emergency fund and a savings account so that the house was built on something solid? Then we framed up the first story, the second story, then we put the Tyvek around it, then we put up the roof, then we put up the shingles, then we drywalled it. And after we're done drywalling it and painting it, then we move the appliances in. You see, what most people do is they buy the roof jacks, the shingles, the appliances, and then they don't have any money to build the foundation. They want to pay as they go. Well, that doesn't work with a house. And it doesn't work with our financial game plan, our financial house. So let's start using the right tools at the right time. Let's build the foundation. Let's make sure that we're taking care of our lifestyle today, that we're taking vacations, that we're buying the birthday and Christmas gifts that we need to buy, that we're not going in debt to do it, that we have a game plan when we're out of debt so we can start saving all of that money. What if you were completely debt free in 3 years or 4 years, not including your house, but completely debt free from your house in 8 or 9 years? How much money would you be able to save to invest in things like Roths or 401ks or Bitcoin or crypto or silver or gold? All the hype that's out there that creates all the pressure that makes us want to nickel and dime a $50 a month solution. That's not a solution. That's a path to frustration. You're doing just enough to feel like you're doing something, but it's taken away from your joy today and it's not impactful. Over 10 years at $50 a month, you've saved 7 grand. Is that going to change your life when you're 60? No. But what if you used all of your dollars to build your savings, your emergency fund, eliminate the right debts at the right time, and then in 2 years you had $1,000 to $2,000 a month. In 8 or 9 years, when your mortgage is paid off, you got $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month. That's impactful. That's using the right tools at the right time for you. And that's my goal. Reach out, message me, raise a hand, ask a question, contact me. Let me know what you want and we'll help you put a plan in place. Our goal is to make sure that everyone gets a strategy that works for them. And it's just math. It doesn't take anything other than a little bit of time. You don't even have to pay for the time. Our team loves to help people. It's part of our ministry and our passion. So I hope this makes a difference in your perspective. If you've been buying tools that you're not ready to use, stop. Let's talk about what you have. Let's redeploy it. Let's let you know when you should use it. And let's do it the right way according to you. So I hope you have a great day. I hope this information helps you ask better questions. And I hope that God blesses the journey you're on. Thank you.